Tsi Ping Owingeh. Tsi is flint, Ping is mountain, and Owingeh is village of. So it's village of Flint Mountain. This is the famous painting compositional space that Georgia O'Keeffe does, El Pedernal. Even though I'm Carrizan, these are Tewa, northern Rio Grande Pueblo names. And there's actually a ruin on the outskirts of it. So there is a historic Anasazi Pueblo ruin on the skirts of the Tsi Ping Owingeh El Pedernal Mesa. Aveh Tsugeh. This is the original pronunciation for abacu. So abacu is a Spanishized version of the Tewa word Aveh Tsugeh. And Aveh Tsugeh translates to Choke Cherry Valley. It's the valley that occurs just below Abacu. So if you're driving to Abacu, before you come up the hill and you're sort of right in front of Abacu Lake, you'll ascend. There's a steep rise, maybe like 500 feet. And if you look down to your valley on your left, as you're coming from a place like like Pojoaque, you'll be driving up, and you look on your left, and that, I think, that is actually Choke Cherry Valley. I think that's what the Tewas were referring to when they talked about Aveh Tsugeh. And it's a very popular valley. It's very lush, very verdant. There's several rivers that converge in there and kind of become one thing, and it's got amazing color. It was popularized by Louisa McElwain. She's an American painter who died not too long ago, and was also using this very kind of muscular palette knife, plein air kind of painting style that I've borrowed from. Misatay is just a Tewa word for church. It's just a composition I thought was interesting, with interesting light. It's the courtyard of the church in Taos Pueblo. People always do the adobe church at Ranchos de Taos. That's the kind of classic modernist composition. But this is actually the church in the Pueblo. This is the courtyard of the church at Taos. And then Tewa is just Misatay. That's the Tewa word for church. Ogapogeh Owingeh. That's the Tewa name for Santa Fe. That is the village of White Shell Water Place. White Shell Water Place. Basically, it's etymology. These are pre-existing indigenous spaces. The etymology is linked to the Rio Grande Pueblo worldview. And there's a quote from the title of Alfonso Ortiz's book, Tewa World. The subtitle is Time, Space, and Becoming in the Pueblo World. And that's what these landscapes are aspirational towards these ideas. It would be presumptuous of me to say that they achieve this, but this is the goal. One of the goals is to create an experience for the viewer which is linked ideologically and aesthetically to the Rio Grande Pueblo experience. Tunyo is a Tewa word for Black Mesa, and if you come from Santa Clara or if you come from San Alfonso, there's different ways of saying it. There's Tunyo and Tunjo. I'm not sure which is which, but I know that there's actually different accents on a different pronunciation. It's Black Mesa, and Black Mesa is kind of the heart of the Pueblo, the Tewa world. It's the epicenter of the Tewa stuff out here, I think. It's a tabletop mesa. It's located just next to, sort of between Santa Clara, Capo Owingeh, and San Alfonso. And it's a phenomenal spot. It's gorgeous. It's got that classic tabletop mesa configuration from northern New Mexico. But the history of it's fascinating too. It was actually a site which was used in the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. So it was prior to the 1680 revolt, when the Spanish conquistadors were moving through the Rio Grande and conquering different Pueblo villages. It was a place, a stronghold for Tewa people, and there was actually a siege that occurred on Black Mesa. So there's evidence on Black Mesa of these sort of fortified places where this kind of siege actually occurred, and there's in some of these places, Guadalupe Mesa from Jemez Mountain, from Jemez Pueblo, you'll also find that they have little sort of choke points on the pathways up into the mesa, and they create these sort of stone choke points, and they have rocks and all these kinds of different objects they throw at the conquistadors coming up. So it's pretty interesting stuff. At one point in time, we look at Black Mesa now, and it's just very picturesque and very gorgeous and elegant. But at one point in time, Pueblo people were actually 500 years ago were literally being it was like the Russian-Ukraine thing, right? People were literally being sieged. It was the Mariupol of the ancient world, right? There were like all these Pueblo people on top of the mesa, and conquistadors were surrounding it and trying to storm it, right? It's kind of classic siege warfare.